Well, hello and welcome. I'm Jan Watson, and along with my colleague, Brianna Shrimbrowski, and our special guest, Larry Pelka, we're here to talk to you about our Study in Oxford programs for June 2022 and to address your questions. I'll start with an overview of the program, and then Brianna will walk us through the application process. Next, Larry, who has attended a fortnight in Oxford many times, will tell you about his experience with the program. That should all take about 25 minutes, and then we will turn to your question. Our program tonight will end no later than 7 p.m. Because there are so many of you here this evening, we will take your questions through the chat function. After nearly 2 years of Zoom classes and events and chatting with your family and friends, I'm sure you all know where the chat function is, but it's at the bottom of your Zoom window. There's a thought bubble and it says chat. So you click on that, and when it opens, you type in your question or comment and then hit send. We also recommend that you use speaker view during the program. Your view controls are at the top right of your Zoom screen. I want to begin by recommending that you visit our Study in Oxford web pages. There's an overview page, and from there you can review the details of our two programs, a fortnight in Oxford and a fortnight in Oxford. You will find helpful information such as the seminar syllabi, recommended and required texts, as well as information about what's included, accommodations, fees, traveler requirements, and the cancellation policy. You can find the link to the Study in Oxford web pages in the chat. And starting January 21st, you will find the link to the application on these pages, but more about that later. Some of you may know that our partnership with the University of Oxford Department of Continuing Education goes back 23 years. Our Fortnight in Oxford program beginning on the first Sunday in June for every year except the past two. Some may view a study in Oxford as the trip of a lifetime or something from your bucket list, but many students return with us to Oxford again and again. It's a special place, rarefied air, and has an effect on you that is difficult to explain. As one student said to me, it feels like a home, a place where I belong. This ancient city with sidewalks to match, home to the oldest English-speaking language university in the world, is an easy trip from the London airports or from the center of London, or really from anywhere in the UK. Our home base is Rewley House, an historic Victorian building conveniently located off of Wellington Square, with nearby colleges, theaters, museums, parks, and historic pubs. We are well situated for all that Oxford has to offer. All is within walking distance, although you can arrange for a taxi or go to a taxi stand, and there are also ride-sharing services available in Oxford. Rewley House is where we stay, dine, and take our seminar. There's a small courtyard with tables and benches and a large common room with newspapers and comfy chairs, and this is where we take our tea break. The common room has a small bar that opens in the evening, and students often gather there for a beverage before or after dinner. Rewley House has a small library with a pleasant study area and a computer room available to guests. There will be other groups staying and studying at Rewley, and that just adds to the fun. One important thing to note, there are no bedrooms on the ground floor, and some classrooms are on the second floor. Participants must be able to climb stairs. There are no elevators. The seminar is the highlight of your time in Oxford. The seminar meets for 3 hours each weekday and is taught by an Oxford tutor. You will have advanced reading to do before the trip, and there may be a bit of homework assigned during our time in Oxford, such as reading a handout. A certificate of completion from the University of Oxford Department of Continuing Education is granted to students at the end of the program. I mentioned that we have 2 programs offered in 2022. A Fortnight in Oxford is our signature program with 2 full weeks in glorious Oxford at the end of Trinity term when classes are still in session. Students in black robes fill the sidewalks, rushing to their exams, and Oxford dons in academic attire head to convocations. There are college balls in the evening with students in fancy dress, and the final student-produced plays and concerts are taking place in college gardens. After a few days, you know your way around and start to feel like a local. Days begin with breakfast, then our seminar, with a tea break scheduled halfway through, and that's followed by lunch. We will have some after lunch activities and lectures, but there is plenty of free time to follow your own interests, and the weekend is open for side trips to tour the Cotswolds, Salisbury, Bath, or London. The Fortnight can accommodate 25 students, providing a lot of pleasant companions during the 2 weeks. 2 seminars are offered during the Fortnight in Oxford. Participants sign up for the seminar of their choice. However, each seminar has a limited number of seats available. If a seminar fills, participants must take the other seminar. Your tuition covers your seminar, your housing, and most meals. We will take a day trip to Stratford-upon-Avon to visit Shakespeare's grave, enjoy a nice dinner, and see a play at the Royal Shakespeare Theatre. If weather permits, we also take a boat ride among the swans on the Avon. In Oxford, we will enjoy a series of afternoon lectures, take a walking tour, visit a college, and attend an evensong choral program with dinner afterwards at a historic pub. There will be plenty of free time to pursue your own interests. A Fortnight in Oxford is our new 1-week program that offers an itinerary featuring all the highlights. This will be a smaller group with a maximum of 19 students. Each morning, we will study together in the seminar, and then after lunch, we will set out on group field trips. The Fortnight will offer a 1-week version of the Roaring Twenties seminar with Dr. Angus McFadgen. Everyone will be in the same seminar. Your tuition covers your seminar, housing, and most meals. Field trips include a walking tour of Oxford and its colleges with a blue badge guide. We will take a tour of the Bodleian Library and go on an outing to nearby Blenheim Palace, the ancestral home of Winston Churchill. We will also attend an evensong choral program at one of the colleges. For a special evening, we will enjoy a dinner in a dining hall at Balliol College. Brianna, I don't know if I skipped ahead on some of your slides. I may have. So these are the 2 seminars for a Fortnight in Oxford, the Roaring Twenties, Fitzgerald, Hemingway, and the Glamour of Literature, which will be taught by our longtime tutor, Angus McFadgen. The other seminar is Winston Churchill, Statesman, Prophet, and Chronicler. And that will be taught by Dr. Michael Redley, who is new to our program, but has been teaching there in Oxford for years and has a very interesting background you can read about on the website. I think the next slide shows what's included that I've already sort of alluded to. And this is also on the website and you can review it there. The Fortnight, as I mentioned, has 1 seminar, and it is the 1-week version of the Roaring Twenties. it will have the pre-reading is a little bit less since we won't have the full 2 weeks to cover all the material. And then what's included for the fortnight, which I've already talked about a little bit, is also included here and can be found on our website. So now we'll look at some traveler requirements that we feel are important. Of course, the 800-pound gorilla in the room is COVID. Thinking forward, the University of Chicago delayed planned travel for spring of this year, but summer offers a window of the best time to travel. We can't predict the different pieces that can affect travel, but both universities, Chicago and Oxford, have medical research centers and are leaders with the highest standards for safety. As of January 31st, University of Chicago requires that students not only have an FDA or WHO approved vaccination, but also requires that you have the booster. Travel and medical insurance are highly recommended. The University of Chicago does not offer this type of insurance, nor are we experts in the field. Travelers want to pay special attention that policies, to any exclusions related to COVID-19, and if the travel insurance policy provides appropriate cover so that the traveler is not liable for costs. Example, if your trip has to be extended because you are required to quarantine abroad. If the program is canceled by the University of Chicago or the University of Oxford and you are still registered, you'll receive a full refund of tuition. Now, I suspect that you are curious about the application process. So I'm going to ask Brianna to walk us through how to apply.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brianna. I'm the website and design specialist at Graham, and it's so wonderful to be here with you all tonight. So now that you've heard about the programs, I am going to walk you through how to find and complete the application. So as Jan mentioned, applications will open this Friday, January 21st. On Friday morning, you will receive an email with a link to the web page where you will find the applications. But you can also access that web page now by clicking the link in the chat. Let me just pop that in there really quick. So after clicking that link, you'll look for the menu on the right-hand side of the page and a button that says how to apply. And you can see that menu on the slide here. Once you click that button, you will see one link for the Fortnight in Oxford application and one link for the fortnight in Oxford application. Please click the link for the program you wish to apply to. Once you do so, you will be taken to another web page to complete the application. On that page, which you can see here, you will click the Apply Now button, and you will then be prompted to either log into your student profile or create a student profile before you can begin the application. If you've taken a class at Graham in the past, you'll use that same login information here. And if this is your first time taking a course at Graham, you'll need to create a new profile. So be prepared to enter in your first and last name and your address, and be sure to set up this profile using the same email you'll use to register for the course and a password that you will remember. Once you've finished creating your student profile, there's just one more step. On a page that looks like this one, you will be asked for the course and section number of the program you wish to apply to. This information will be provided to you in a note at the bottom of the application page, as you can see here where that second arrow is pointing. But you will also need to enter each number into the two fields you see where this first arrow is pointing. If you already know which program you'd like to apply to, you can also write down this information now. So for a fortnight in Oxford, the course number is HUAS 91001, and the section number is 22S1. And for a fortnight in Oxford, the course number is HUAS 91002, and the section number is also 22S1. After you've entered this information into the application platform, you'll click the Start button, which is on the bottom right there, and begin. And there are 3 sections for each application. The first is personal information, and the second is special needs and requests, and the third and final section is program details. For each section, there are a few answers you should have ready in advance. And on this slide, you can see a few examples of the questions that will be asked. In order to complete the personal information section, you'll want to have your passport number on hand, as this is a required field in the application. And in order to complete the special needs and requests section, be prepared to select your rooming preference. You will choose from either a single or a double room. And if you select the double room option, you'll need to enter the name of the person that you'll be rooming with. One other thing to note about this section is that you will also need to provide the name, phone number, and email address of an emergency contact. Please be sure your emergency contact is someone other than the person you'll be attending the program with. And once you've completed your application, it will be reviewed. Applicants who are accepted into the program will receive a follow-up email with a link to the course registration page where you will pay the $1,200 deposit. If you run into any questions at all throughout the process, please don't hesitate to contact either myself or Jan, and both of our emails are listed here. And that is all from me tonight. Thank you all so much for your time. I am now going to turn things over to Larry Pelka, a longtime Oxford participant who will talk to you about the student experience. Take it away, Larry.
Thank you, Brianna. If you look at the picture, which by the way is a very good picture, if you take a look at the fellow in the sport coat on the very top row in the middle, that's me. And I want to say that they take a picture every year, and I think that's the best picture they've taken of the years that I've been there. And it's taken in Wellington Square, just across the street from where we have our classes. So it's very close to where we study in the morning. And the photographer, it's worth the trip to take the picture, because the photographer is part genius and part crazy, and he makes everybody feel at home. And every picture he takes, take a look at that picture. There's not one person who has their eyes closed in that picture. So anyway, thanks for keep that picture up there. I kind of like that picture. My first trip to Oxford, I really didn't know what I was in for. And I thought it was going to be all study, and then I would walk around Oxford trying to figure out which college was which. And it didn't turn out to be that way at all. As a matter of fact, I come back because, frankly, what Jan said for me is true. I feel as if Oxford is like my second home. And if you go, you feel completely at ease in Oxford. I don't know what there is about it. Maybe it's the students. You're going to be there at the best time. Jan mentioned they're going to be taking tests. Now, these tests are completely full of anxiety and stress for every student that is there. Because what happens these tests, they put on their robes for the test. They put a carnation in their lapel, and different colors. Each carnation is for what year they're taking. And these are verbal tests. So they take one test a year, and if they fail that test, they're out of Oxford. And they can ask them anything that they want to in this test. So a lot of stress and anxiety as they leave for the test in the morning, and you can see them. I usually go out for a cup of coffee very early, and you can see them inside the coffee shops, drinking their coffee, and their hands are shaking. And then you see them after the test, and their friends are there to greet them after the test. And what the friends do is they either throw them in the river, they spray them with all kinds of things, and it's really like a kindergarten activity that you're watching. Anyway, it's a lot of fun, and you really can't miss it. The Oxford experience is nothing without the students walking around. I'm going to tell you that I met a student one time we were at a pub in Oxford. It was a pub that Bill Clinton went to when he was at Oxford. And there's a sign as you enter that Bill Clinton did not inhale in this pub. So we're in this pub, and I meet this young man from Texas, of all places. And I lived in Dallas, Texas. And I said, "What do you think of Oxford?" He said, "I love it." He said, "It's like a Disneyland for intellectuals." And it's true. These are some of the smartest people you're ever going to meet, and they're having the time of their life. Now, let me tell you a little bit about, Jan mentioned things to do. And I want to stress one thing: you can walk to everything. There really is about everything. There really is nothing that you can't do. Museums, the Ashmolean Museum is a block away. The Ashmolean is the oldest public museum in all of England. It's an art and archaeology museum, and it's worth just a trip just to walk in and take a look around. There's a natural history museum, which is a lot of fun. There's a lot of things you'll see in there that you won't see anyplace. But there's a lot of things like that. She mentioned plays and music venues, and they'll have them listed. It usually keeps track of say, this is occurring here, this is occurring there. And after dinner, you can go to visit some of these things, and they're worth it. Some of the college plays are a lot of fun, and they're very professional too. Some of them are held out of doors, so you'll have even more fun seeing them out of doors. Don't pass up the pubs, whatever you do. If any of you watch Inspector Lewis or Endeavor, they're shot at these pubs. And when you go to the pubs, you can spot where they sat in the pub. But the pubs are great places. They're very friendly. They're very nice. And if you enjoy a beer or a Coke or something, they're a nice place to stop and have a conversation. Also, fish and chips. I think Jan mentioned fish and chips. You got to have fish and chips, whatever you do. And, there are restaurants like a block away. There are a series of French restaurants, my favorite, English restaurants. There's a wine pub down the street, which is a beautiful, beautiful place. And I'll be glad to buy you a glass of wine if you come, because I love the place. I usually host a few people sometimes at that pub. She mentioned Stratford-on-Avon as an event that we go to. I can tell you that to visit the house of William Shakespeare, to visit the grave of William Shakespeare, to see the church where he was buried, it's incredible. The events, the plays are terrific. The restaurant is a first-class restaurant. It's a top floor restaurant, and you can see the whole countryside. But the plays are very professional, as you can imagine. All Shakespeare plays. I can tell you that I only had one run-in. I went to see, I think it was Merchant of Venice, and on the first act, I was sitting in back, and I went to move farther up, and there was an empty seat. And this fellow came along and said, "Do you mind if I take my seat now?" And it was Kinsey who played Gandhi in the play. Ben Kinsley was a very nice guy. He didn't mind that I took his seat. Okay, he didn't mind I took his seat, but still. And you also mentioned Blenheim. You can go to Blenheim on this evening tour, which we didn't have before. But there's a bus that leaves a block away that drops you off at Blenheim. And Blenheim was the castle where Winston Churchill was born. Okay, but the Churchill name is famous, and they got that castle because the original John Churchill won a famous battle, the Battle of Blenheim in Germany, where he beat the French. So it's a great place to go. The grounds are worth the trip. The grounds go on forever. They're beautiful. They're fountains. It's a place you have to go to. And last but not least, I want to talk about the colleges. People talk about Oxford as if that's something really important. Oxford's a university. You know what they do there? They give tests at Oxford. The important and where the money is are in all these colleges. There are 30 colleges that make up Oxford. Each one, in my opinion, more beautiful than the next. Each of the colleges has a student dormitory. It has a library. It has a place to have dinner, all of their food, and there's usually a chapel. Each of these is worth it. I'm going to mention 3 of my favorites that if you go, you have to go to. The first is Magdalen, probably the most beautiful. It's a little bit of a walk. It's on the river, but if you take a walk, it's big enough to have a deer park in it. It has a tower. It is an absolutely beautiful place. And if you can sneak in, and there are ways to sneak in, you can see where they have their dinners. The chapel is worth it, and the library. So put that on your list. Magdalen College is good. My favorite is a little one down the street called Keebler. I like Keebler because it was the first place that I went to. Keebler is a beautiful little school, all in red brick, a chapel that's worth a visit because it has a famous painting in it, and you see kids going before their tests. They go to the chapel at Keebler to say a prayer and pick up a carnation, but it's worth the trip. And lastly, the one place that you really have to go is Christ Church. Christ Church is the mecca of colleges. It has the biggest grounds. It has the most, not the most money, but it's an absolutely beautiful place. If you've seen Harry Potter, the place that they have all their meals in Harry Potter is a replica of the dining area of Christ Church. Last year we went to Evensong at Christ Church, which is, by the way, it's a wonderful thing to do. We went to Evensong, and then on the way out, I took some people and we snuck into the dining hall through the back way, and to see them with the lights and everything, it's a beautiful place to go. So I can recommend that. But in closing, look, this is an event that if you go to, you'll love it. Put it this way, I loved it. I think you will too. Everybody who's gone on it, I think, has walked away and said, this is a great event. Will it change your life? Sometimes it will. Is it going to be an event that you'll always remember? Yes.